March 4th, I'm gonna open the meeting. 2 members present, Stu Dazell, myself, Roy Ricker, Carmen and Mark, and Jamie from the Finance Committee. We don't have a,
We'll have some minutes.
minutes from last meeting.
No, we don't have them.
Okay.
We have the new business, the contract extension.
The new business is a contract extension of Western and Sands for the new treatment plant construction oversight. You wanna talk about that also? You had a meeting with it?
First of all, excuse me, I went to a meeting, the Board of Selectmen last night, and I want to apologize to the selectmen. I forgot to mention that we extended the agreement with Mark for another 60 days for 35 hours a week. Mark has been very valuable to us. Now with this contract extension, I'm not happy with it, to say the least, but we have to vote for this. $61,047 to keep the engineer on board through April.
Did you discuss this with the selectmen last night on this?
Yes, I did.
And what
Mark
is their,
and I did.
what are they feeling?
Well, they agree. We have, it has to be,
We gotta finish
the
it.
plant is 90% done.
Right.
We have to finish it. Supposed to call for a motion.
You wanna make a motion to accept this?
I'll make a motion. The services performed under Articles 2.6 through 2.9 of this agreement, the owner agrees to pay the engineer monthly as charges incur at cost plus fixed fee basis. Monthly charges will include costs incurred during the billing period based on the amount and value of the work. Services performed plus a fixed rate based on the proportionate value of cost incurred to date to the total cost ceiling. Any balance of fixed fee remaining upon completion of the work will be billed in full in the engineer's final invoice for the project. The cost ceiling, which does not include the fixed fee, which the engineer will not exceed without the agreement being formally amended, and a fixed fee which will not be increased except for an agreement amended, increasing the scope of work are as follows. The cost ceiling was $700,678. Now with this fixed fee, that's an extra $61,047 for a total of $761,725. This amendment would include 7 additional weeks of construction services from February 22nd through through April 18th, 2014. We're behind the 8 ball. It started February 22nd through April 18th.
You made the motion, I'll second it. All in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Old business.
There's a write in there on the second line item.
It's at the training room window.
Yeah, this is.
Oh, I thought that was all part of the same thing, no?
No, this is Western Sampson.
Okay.
This is a contractor.
Okay, Lisa, this is the signature page for the Weston and Sampson contract. Is it pen? Pen? This is page 2 of what you just read.
Yep.
And
Both want these tonight.
You stick it everywhere. Do you want just transmit the ones?
yeah, that's what's next. I'm just waiting for it.
Okay.
That's all we need, right?
That's all you need. I'll forward that downtown, and our treasurer or our accountant will have to sign off on this as well. And then it will go to, back to Weston and Sampson. The next item is a change order for the contract to build the water treatment plant. This one has been under review for some time. It's in the amount for $4,900, $4,980, and it's there's some photos in here you can look at. It's to repair or complete the finishing of the windows in the conference room. This is the roofing. The roof area. It's a large room, it's probably as big as this room. And all one side is unfinished on the top. And the same on the corners and the bottom. I'll pass this to you.
Why is it unfinished, Mark?
This sketch was missing from the drawings, and the design did not specify how to finish it, so the contractor couldn't do it. The engineers gave a sketch on how to do it, but the contractor is saying, well, that wasn't part of the contract, so they hadn't estimated it, or however it works, and they want extra money to finish the window.
Is, John looked at it?
He did. In fact, he's actually the one who suggested we could put it on tonight's agenda, especially because I talked with him today about it, and I visited the treatment plant today, and I looked at it along with Carmen, and I went there for two purposes, just to digress a little. You mentioned last night's meeting. I was giving accounts of what I believe to be true, but I went there to see it firsthand today, and it is accurate what we said last night. But anyway, it won't hold up the treatment plant process. I'll pass this down so you can look at the photos.
I looked at this before the meeting.
It won't hold up the treatment plant process, but it's a place that's very visible to people coming in. And we could get it done outside, but it's not going to save us much money.
What does John recommend?
He recommends we get it done. It's relatively fair. We could save a little money, but not that much. And it's going to be an eyesore for when people come in to look at the plant. The plant will not look finished with this. It's your first impression. You walk in, you see this. By the time you figure in the administrative overhead to get it done ourselves, it would cost more than that.
Any comments?
Much as I'm against some of these change orders,
I'm totally against them.
I'll make a motion for that one to get the job done.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
There's nothing to sign. We'll just process the paperwork based on minutes. And they needed that, actually. This is a good time to do that and get it done.
I'll just be glad when Kingsman is out of our hair.
This is, these are two purchase orders to move the F-850 dump truck, get it towed by Ipswich Towing, Pulse Towing in Ipswich, and to work to be done by Busted Knuckle. Busted Knuckle came here and did a preliminary troubleshooting or assessment, and we need to spend a little more time to really give us a good estimate. I've got written as required, troubleshoot, estimate costs, and upon approval from
Well, I
Rutland
met
Water.
with him down here on a Saturday, 3 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And like he says, all those tools are in his garage in Ipswich, and it's not feasible for him to come here. So for a couple $100, truck towed over there and get the thing so we can use it. Instead of sitting in the garage and we can't.
So we would pay him an estimate to what we think would be wrong, but
Well, he's gonna
he
keep
would
us
only go ahead
updated.
with it until after he gets.
Right, he'll keep us updated what's going
Yeah.
on.
So we're essentially paying him to do a good assessment and some repairs if they're simple. But if it's major, we would have to,
800, not 850.
it's an, it says F-800 on it, I don't know why we call it an 850.
Because you get used to calling, well, the small trucks are 350, so.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
years ago, they were in the 50s, and went 750, so
Yeah,
forth,
yeah.
and they got in
Let's
the
say
80s. Yeah.
800 on the side.
Now they've gone back to the 50s, 750 now, so.
But it's a medium-sized dump truck.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's a Class B,
That's right.
it's a Class B vehicle.
Okay. Want to call for motion on this, Roy? Want to call for motion, please?
I'll call for a motion, we're gonna send the truck over there fixed.
Sending it over, having it towed over,
Plus the knuckle.
and have them look it over, and estimate the costs, and then get approval from the Raleigh Water Board to make the repairs.
Yep.
You
And he told me for the tune-up and the carburetor, it was probably around 1,000. We have to do a valve job.
You made the motion, I'll second it.
I don't think I signed the second one.
So, there's.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Speaking again about trucks, here's the F-350. In the absence of this truck, we were using it to move a lot of dirt and for snow plowing. Transmission's only 3 years old, and this one broke, and it was originally estimated at $450, but the actual repair cost $1,127. Again with the vehicles. So if this one were fixed, it would go easier on this truck.
Exactly. I mean, that truck's not designed to carry 3 or 4 tons of dirt.
Plus, the way they do it, they have to make multiple trips. So a repair on the street, when you're diverting traffic, et cetera, is taking a lot longer than it should. So it could actually be dangerous. We eventually want to go to bulk orders, blanket orders on chemicals. But in the meantime, we're still doing one-by-one chemicals, so this is really just a
I thought we went into that, Laura got us into that,
consortium.
Edith.
Yes, we do have that for many of our chemicals, we don't have
But
it
not
for all
all
of
of
them. Yeah, this is a regular supplier of, this is a,
Can we get in on that? With all of them or not?
they don't offer all of them.
Okay.
But we are in as much as we can be on the consortium. Along the line of chemicals, Glenn Smith is working with the contractor to see what new chemicals we'll have for the new treatment plant and what quantities that are. So we have to adjust what we get from the consortium. That would be a good time to go to blanket purchase orders. so we don't have to keep doing this for every time we buy chemical.
Under old business, Mark, how are we doing on the budget?
The budget's going well. The biggest delay was just getting started, like most other things. I was able to, well, we did set aside our next regular meeting next Tuesday to go over the budget. Also, the fiscal team wants to set up a meeting to review it as well, and both of them are preparatory, so it doesn't matter which one goes which, but we're working a lot of these in detail. One thing I did acquire was the from Debbie is the I guess we approved a capital improvement plan some years ago. This board approved a capital improvement plan, which makes planning easier because it's at least for the capital, because that, one of the delays I had, if you remember last week, we were talking about how many hydrants we should get, so on and so forth, and we were estimating 20. We were coming up with a number of, let's do 20. Well, 20 is actually pretty expensive. That's like $160,000. And that topic was one of developing a policy for hydrants, fire hydrants, and it still applies as something we need to do. But this has predetermined from 2014, FY 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, the work was already done to come up with a list of what we would do. I don't know this to be a fact yet, but typically DEP asks for these. And even though we can change it, they anticipate that what we say we're going to do, we do, and they use that as an indicator of how well we're doing. It's like part of our report card for sanitary surveys. So it's a good idea. It was approved, and it's a good idea to follow through, unless we look at it and find out it doesn't make sense. But so far, this makes the job of doing the budget much easier. You can't do a good budget without good records, and so a lot of what we've been doing is just looking at past records, and especially getting up-to-date printouts on what's been spent this year to date, and the various line items. There were a couple of questions last time about specific items. One question was, have we gone over budget on anything? And I said there were very few, which there are. A lot of them, well, let's see. A lot of them have to do with, I keep saying a lot, there aren't many. There's only a few. For example, we're 4.31% over with 6 months left for cost of debt, debt service. Oh, well, I'm sorry, cost of debt issuance. So anything we're over on, let's see, nothing on that page. There's only, well, the same one. Actually, that's the only one we're over budget by. There's one item, it looks like. Bank interest, we're over a little bit. A lot of it has to do with financing, but of our line items that we spend on, there's really virtually none that we're over budget on. And the other question that the board asked me to find out was, is really answered by the first one, which was, does the superintendent's account have enough money to pay, Commissioner Toomey was asking me if, to check and make sure that there was enough money in the budget to pay my position, the superintendent. And even if you had someone full-time for the rest of the year, you would have enough money. And I double-checked that with our accountant downtown. So I think, and I've been talking with Glenn Smith about a lot of the different line items, and we actually tried to get together today. We did start, but we tried to get together and go line by line item and see what we need. One of the big things I've already mentioned, which is chemicals will be different next year. So we can't rely on those,
How are we gonna do the budget on that until we know what we're gonna need for chemicals?
yeah, we are getting that now, and I think we may actually already have what the new chemicals will be, if they're correct. I mean, again, we'll have to run it for a year and see how it goes. But the chemicals will be different, they're not the exact same, many of them are the same. Many are the same, but some are different. And those are the details we're looking at, so.
We just wanna cut ourselves short and, you know what I mean?
We could add to the hydrants, we could save some serious money if we replace 5 or 6 a year in-house.
We could save about
Hydrants, what, 18?
$4,000 to $6,000
A pop.
installation fee, yeah. It costs maybe 7 or 8 to have a contractor install one. It costs about $2,000 to buy one.
Now, speaking about hydrants, I was one that was complaining about getting these plugged out. And we did one on Havel Street that I saw that I complained about. There's no need for the firemen have to go to these fires with these frozen snowbanks to crawl over them. We have a backhoe, we have an operator. There's no reason he can't go up there and go and poke a hole through him. There's no reason why the firemen have to crawl over a snowbank to get to the fire hydrant that's cleaned around it, but there's a bank in front of it. They're playing with big hoses, not playing with garden hoses.
Well,
And that backhoe, you see it around town every day of the week, going up and down the road. And he's driving by hydrants and he's not doing it. Something's gotta be done about that.
this hour?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we did do some this weekend.
Yeah, but no, but when you see the thing going up and down the road, there's no reason why he's going by a hydrant. Stop,
Do it.
do the hydrant.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's going to station 2, station 3. If you're driving from here to station 3, there's quite a few hydrants in between. There's no reason why he can't, takes him a minute to do each one. There's no reason why the firemen in the middle of the night, in a bad situation, have to crawl over a snowbank and get to the hydrant.
Okay. The hydrant itself was not up, but the bank.
Right, but you got a snowbank in front of it that's 2-3 feet high.
Agreed.
You know, I mean, it only takes a second just to poke it with a backhoe. I don't expect somebody to go out there and shovel the frozen snow. We have a hydraulic machine that can do that. And the part is when the machine's driving down the road, goes by a hydrant, stop, clean it.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking.
According to this, unless we want to change it, the previous board approved 4 hydrants each year and 2 valves. Cleaning wells, cleaning storage tanks, so on and so forth.
4 hydrants a year is fine with me.
And then one F-50 truck is listed here too. But if you want to take a peek.
Do you have an idea what we gotta do for valve work, gate valve stuff this year?
At the moment, I don't. I don't know.
I think before we get the budget, we should try and find out where we were on that. They were on a program for that.
For exercising valves?
Yes, and there was some that needed a replacement.
Does the truck
And see where we are on that before we get our budget in, just so we can
We did
make sure we're
locate
covered.
we did locate some records this week from the previous crew.
Yep.
We haven't had time to sit through them.
I know we did have some that was in rough shape, and we did a few of them, but I don't think we did all of them.
Everybody's new, so we're all looking at all.
No, exactly.
You know.
That's why I'm just saying, it's
But
just,
we did find the.
before we put the budget in, let's
We found
just
them
see
all.
that we're covering ourselves, if we're gonna do some valve work.
Yeah, I found this, we found,
This is
well, I didn't find this was given me, but we found the mother load of
yeah,
files that were, electronic files that were being used.
yeah, this is an old
Which one's that?
the truck.
Yeah, I got that. Oh, it's listed as on hold. So the truck, the loader, and the air compressor are all on hold.
Exactly.
Which we had already said that about the loader as well, so.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So for next year, for capital, we've got hydrants, valves. If we had, well, hydrants, valves, cleaning one well, and cleaning the storage tank. The well we're gonna do is, well, in fact, that's this year's money. We're talking about this year's money, actually. We're estimating next year.
These projects have to get started or you lose the money.
Right. We're in the process of doing that now.
Right. The pickup truck though, that's definitely in a loader.
Okay, yeah, that's going. That was, well, okay. Glenn and I have sat and talked about this, looking at the budget and knowing that if we don't use it, we lose it. So we have committed the cleaning wells. We were getting estimates on that today, actually, for cleaning number 2. We can commit the money, but we have to wait until number 3 goes online with the new treatment plant before we can do that. Part of that, with the records, as far as I could tell, includes the VFD drive that we approved last week. The 2 items there are that capital. We're trying to find out if we're going through the same process we just mentioned a minute ago. That's for this year's money to spend, is the 4 hydrants and 2 valves. And that should agree with, let me just look at it. Actually, this is helpful when you put them both together. Because it says maintenance of hydrants, $15,000. I can go here and say that's 4 hydrants. It's supposed to be 4 hydrants, and that would dictate if it's being done by contractor or in-house. We don't have detailed records of how these got to be line items, or we haven't found them yet. But I can glean what we were intended to do from combining these. But maintenance of hydrants and valve repair, we will get that done. That was a topic of discussion today. We were actually working on that.
Now, I know last year we didn't get our hydrant flushing set up online because we didn't have the help. Are we online so we're going to be able to do that this spring?
Until this moment, it hasn't been on the radar screen, on my radar screen, but I don't know if it's been on the primary operators.
The problem is the last year, nothing's been basically done on that.
It's a good time to do it, I agree.
And we need to seriously think about that.
You're absolutely right. Just let it warm up a bit.
Oh no, I realize that, but I just want to make sure he's got it on his schedule,
Because
plans.
we're already playing with the water because of the new treatment plant and pumps and so on. So like, for example, pump number 3 is offline right now until the new treatment plant goes online. So we'd like to get, before the weather gets too warm, we want to get everything up to 100% capacity
Right.
first before we start flushing. Because then you're throwing water
Well, what I'm saying, they didn't do much flushing last year
Yeah, I got you.
because with all the situation problems down here.
And I can look at some of this, maybe even maintenance, well, as a concept, we don't have to do everything in the house. We can still get it done. And so, yeah.
And really do as much in-house as we can.
True, but we've got a week's worth of we've got training coming up in the new treatment plant. We got a full plate right now, a pretty full plate. Getting fuller. So I'm just saying as a concept, I would rather get it, if I have to get it done outside, just to get it done, as long as we can afford it. It might, with under the conditions we're in, I'm shooting from the hip here, but under the conditions we're in, it might be better to wait until the fall for flushing, when everything is pretty steady and we don't have to worry about straining the water supply.
We can't do some in spring, some in fall.
It should be spring and fall.
No, we can't do some in spring and
Oh, sure.
You have the, in other words, the one half of town in the spring, one half
Yeah.
in the fall?
I have to check and see if we are required to do unidirectional. Sometimes you have to do a computer model one, which probably not. But this system is relatively straightforward, and I think you could do like an entire leg on one and then do the rest on the fall. So you could do some, it doesn't have to be all. I agree, just thinking about the system.
It's just, I know we get some prices there when we was talking about having somebody from the outside do it. And the prices were scary, that what they wanted per hour to go
Yeah.
flush hydrants. And I just,
Yeah.
I can't see using an outsider when we can use our guys. I'd rather pay them overtime than pay somebody $80 an hour.
But when they pull up with a backhoe to take out the snow, they can go in and flush it at the same time.
They can do that too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll get it done somehow.
This,
Would you like to keep, I can make you a copy and keep it.
No, I just wanted to see what you had on that.
Okay. This is FY14, which should match, this is just the capital.
Yep.
That should match this right here, which it more or less does. This actually has more information. This has dollar information on what's been spent and not spent. So the general question was how we doing in the budget. That's a pretty good description. We're getting there.
okay.
We're underway, we're not done yet.
That backhoe is scheduled for 2015 to be replaced. As far as I'm concerned, that's absolutely out of the question.
It's unnecessary.
That's right.
So I think what we ought to do is bring this to a subsequent meeting, review it and see if we should change it and formally change it. And then, as a matter of courtesy, copy DEP, because they're always interested in these things.
The only thing I would like to see, Stu, is if we could find out the difference, if we waited 1 year or 3 years, what we get for a trade-in value on something like that,
What, tobacco?
the backhoe or a truck or anything else. Just so we get some numbers to play with.
That backhoe's good for another 10 years.
Oh, I know that, and you know that, but,
You know what, I know, and they usually don't want to give you anything for it, when the
Right.
shoe's on the other foot.
You
I
can,
just like to see what the difference
How
is,
we pay.
you know, between buying 2 years from now or 5 years from now.
right. That's the game we were playing with the trucks as well. We thought if we took this one and traded them in, assuming, but if that truck is worth fixing, but along the same concept, we could do the same thing with the backhoe.
You came up with a ballpark on Fennel Drive,
Not yet. We're working
which
on it.
says 250,000.
Oh, that's interesting.
Did we ever measure that, Stu?
It's a third of a mile,
Yeah.
3/10 of a
Yeah.
mile.
Last week,
Oh, somebody's already done this work, actually. I don't have to do that. If I can find they came up with $250,000 to get that done. It's actually earmarked for 2016. What do you think?
That would make the complete loop for the whole system, not complete,
Yeah, that's very attractive.
the whole town, right? Would be in a loop.
At least 2 main trunks. Yeah. I'm not sure about the whole town, but quite a bit of the distribution system there. In terms of, I'll bring this to you for review in the subsequent meeting. But you got a truck here. Well, you got a truck and a backhoe. If they don't have to be replaced, that would replace a lot of hydrants. Yeah.
Myself, if who's gonna replace anything, I think the 110 should be the one that we replace and get into a diesel with that and get away from the gas. I mean, that truck's got more age and more hours on it than anything we got out here, correct?
I don't know.
excuse me, this fuel is 25,000 can come way down year to date. That's
Yeah,
just recently, we've only spent 4,500. So there's $20,463 left.
Yeah,
But there's no way do we need that kind of money for fuel.
exactly. That's why we need to look at records, and when, we need to make sure this isn't an anomaly. We need to go back and check a couple of years behind that if we can find those records, just to see where it is. Yeah, at least get it into the ballpark and go maybe 20%.
Well, when you bring that up at the next meeting, so we can go over all that.
Yeah, the next meeting was earmarked for that, and I'll bring up the capital improvement plan, which is related to that, for your review. Let's see if we can get it. Why don't you keep this copy, and I can email the others to you. Others. Okay, transmission we got that. If I recall, but I got several customer complaints, I call them, but issues to resolve. One I brought up at a previous meeting where we put a lien on someone, and they didn't deserve it, so we need to pay them back, and we need to get an abatement or
No, we took care of that at the last.
well, that's what I'm asking. I said, we all agreed, I mean,
Yes,
you
we
agreed to
did.
do that, right?
We will do.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that and just the second one, I think we agreed on as well, or you agreed on, I should say, respectfully, that there was a person who we're required to get a $3,000 deposit for someone getting a building permit, but they put in a well. $3,000 towards capital that you have to pay it up front to get a building permit.
I believe we agreed on that one to
I
reimburse.
agree too. I just want to make sure, because we're cleaning up, we're making a lot of
How's that
progress.
work, Sue? But say that they put a well in, but they still let the water service go by the house. Is there any rule in our bylaws for that?
To my knowledge, no, the water can go by your house, but there's no law that says you cannot have a
They
long
still
well.
get the fire service out of that. I didn't know if it was something that maybe we ought to,
What you're saying about your fire service is to a certain extent, but depending on the tax bill covers that.
I just think that maybe we ought to check into that and just see, you know, if we should be doing something different down the road.
If somebody chooses to have a well, who are we to say they can if they meet all the rules? What you're saying,
I know
I
that a lot
realize
of the
it,
bigger
but-
places that, you know, if the water and sewer goes down the street, they still have to pay for it even though they don't use it. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
So I'm just wondering if we should
Capital
change something a
improvement.
little bit,
Uh,
where we get part of it and not the whole 3,000.
I don't know, I don't wanna get into telling people they have to.
Oh, I
Town water, excuse me.
That's for capital, the 3,000 is for capital improvement or buying into the system. And I haven't seen it written anywhere if that includes for water or for fire protection. But they're definitely benefiting from both. As Stu was just saying, the taxes might be paying for the fire protection for what we know. But I'll try, again, I'm trying to find that policy as well as a policy on it.
No, we might have to change something in our bylaws down the road, is what I'm
Okay,
saying.
and maybe that's a good place to look, the bylaws. I haven't really read those. I need to find a copy of the bylaws. Do you know where they are?
John, I can look in the files.
Yeah, we'll locate one of those. We're newbies. Okay. One other question on 42 Main Street. On December 26th, there was a water break. And because it happened right between the service and the roadway, we thought it was the responsibility of the homeowner to repair because it was a service line. And I guess after we unearthed it, we found out it was not necessarily, I mean, it was possibly the town's. In fact, I think, Stu, you went to go look at it, correct?
Yes, and here's the evidence right here. The hole was with the copper tubing there and there, where it's connected to the curb stop. So therefore, it's the water department's responsibility.
It's-
I've been carrying this around my seat in my pocket.
I didn't know if they was gonna take a ride over Salisbury and cash that in, so.
But is that downstream of the valve?
It's right at the valve. That's
And
where
the
it
main
goes
is
up.
over here?
Yes,
Okay, so,
I'm not about, I'll give somebody the benefit of the doubt. It's right at the curb stop.
okay, it's up to you, what do you want to do?
That's how I feel about it.
It's, we're talking
It's
about.
not like it was 5 or 10 feet in, it's right at the curb stop, there's where it pushes into the curb stop.
And the damage could have happened when that got installed. I agree.
Exactly, or there could have been a
So
stone on top.
As far as I can say, we could eat that.
Okay, that's $930, so,
Right,
if you agree, we'll take care of it.
Okay, I agree. You wanna make a motion on
I'll make a motion that we,
Okay. Only 3 customer complaints,
Either-
all taken care of.
either send these folks a check or I imagine they'd rather have the check than the credit.
I think they requested a check.
Okay.
I'll double check.
All right, I'll make a motion, we send them a check for this, residence across the street from the town hall.
Yeah, here you
I'll
can look
second
at the, here's the letter and the bill. Let's see.
All in favor?
Aye.
The request to be reimbursed, yes. And here's the actual receipt. All done. How's it getting shorter? Looks like a backhoe here. Or something. That looks like it was hit.
You'll see it would have been dented more than you have that right there, where I wore right through.
Right. And if you look at the, it wasn't put in straight either.
No.
So, and it wasn't put in straight, it stretched this out. See, this metal was thin on this side because it was going out and then it got put in, and it wasn't straight when it got put in. Okay, you just sold me, I agree with you.
All right. There's one more thing to be discussed here. They're requesting the water department pay for the repair of a driveway in the spring. I would vote against that. I think we've been very fair,
I agree 100%.
taking care of the $930.
So you wanna make a motion?
It's a small
We'll-
pad.
We'll take care of the 930, and they can take care of the driveway. So we
Let's
will,
rescind the first motion, the first vote. We'll rescind the first
Rescind.
agreement.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we pay for the $930, but not the driveway.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's a small street.
me to get a logo on the truck.
Yes.
I do have one quote, but it's a little unreasonable, so I think I located in the files where we used to go, so that.
We used to go down here, but that guy died. I'm not sure how the new guy is.
I may have gone to the wrong place. There's a sign down there that says,
Doug Signs or something. That's where we used to go, but
Doug
the other
Signs,
guy, the other guy died.
okay,
Yeah, I
Doug,
forget his name.
he wants $130 for 2 lawnmowers. It seems a little stiff, a little high to me.
No, that ain't that bad.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, then it's done.
But I think we should put something on that 150, something on it.
I'm going to grab a purchase order, hopefully.
Do you agree on that, Sue? I mean, that's only $65 a piece.
I know, but I agree there should be something on it.
Yeah.
I think that price is a little heavy.
We've been trying a year and a half to get that thing leaded.
I've been able to go, Carmen and I have been able to go through all the records and at least get a good listing of all the, and look at the last meetings that we've had, and at least get a good list of the things to do, so we're not shooting from the hip as much anymore, so things are starting to become organized.
I know it costs to load a big truck out. By the time you put the number and the name, the DOT number and the ICC numbers, it's $500 to do a truck.
Okay.
So I mean, 130 isn't bad, but a couple of decals on the side of it. And it's covered. It says Town of Raleigh on it, and it's not riding around unmarked.
I already sent him the artwork and everything, so it's ready to go.
Another quote if you would, please.
We have the hydrant like we had before in just Town of Raleigh Water Department, correct?
Yes, sir, just like out here.
Yeah.
The
Just like
same.
what's on the other ones.
Yes, the same. All right, so Stu just asked me to get another quote, which I will. I'm already in the middle of doing that anyway. And I'm putting an estimate down of $130.
There's a place right over in Newbury too, before the railroad bridge. I forget the name of that place, it's over there, Howell or something like that. There's truck lettering and vinyl signs. Right on Route 1.
Okay, so I've got this set up so that we can go with Doug's sign or the cheaper of the two.
Right.
If you, I don't know if you want to sign for $130.
Why don't we,
You want to wait?
why don't we,
Yeah,
we
we're
get
gonna-
a couple of quotes and
Yeah,
vote on it the next meeting?
we're going to be here next week. We have a meeting next week, a regular.
I just like to get that done, because I mean, it's been a long time trying to get that done. You have anything else?
I can't think of anything. I probably will and leave.
Make a motion to,
Just back to Fennel Drive 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Have you made any calls on that or?
Haven't had a chance.
Okay. Yeah.
Right now, I'm taking care of things that, I'm trying to get the budget done.
You'll have a full
And I have to do things as they come up, but the default for me is to go to the budget before I can get to them. I need to get that done.
The administrator has been ready straight out with the budget. That's why I haven't sat down with her yet. Over the job description for
Right, I was
the
just looking at
superintendent.
that, right. We all have to get that out of the way first.
This is her very busy time. Well, every day is busy for her, but this is extremely busy for her.
Just a note, we discovered today that GA Consultants from John Hargraves.
Yes.
It was not his fault, but we had an old invoice and a repeat invoice that included the prior one, and it got paid. But we canceled that check today. That's the January 21st statement. It was approved at the last meeting. but it was canceled, just to let you know that happened.
Okay.
But it was not his fault, it was an internal issue. He actually gave us the replacement and said, the other one that hadn't been paid yet, he said, just destroy that one. I don't know if that's proper practice or not, but that's what happened, and somehow it ended up in the basket, and got paid at the last meeting, Sue Bailey picked it up, and she voided that check. I'm just letting you know that's something you approved, that voided. Let's see. That says it.
A motion to adjourn.
Anything else, Mark?
No.
Excuse me?
No, sir.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.